You're listening to Today on Radio 4 with Carolyn Quinn and James Naughty, 28 minutes to 8.
Countryside groups say more than 200 hunts will be meeting today, nearly 2 years after hunting with hounds was made illegal in England and Wales. Hunt supporters say more people are participating than ever before, and the sport's continued popularity is proof the law is unworkable. But anti-hunting groups insist the law is working.
So dangerous dogs today. It was introduced in 91, as I said, after a number of attacks by dogs and young children. The government of the day said it was necessary to protect children from dogs bred for attack. It's proved pretty unpopular in doggy circles. Organisations like the Kennel Club say it's a classic instance of a law rushed through that doesn't do what it claims to do. Caroline Kisko is secretary of the Kennel Club. She joins us now, and in a moment we'll speak to Lord Baker, who, as Home Secretary Kenneth Baker, took the law through the Commons. Caroline Kisko, good morning.
Good morning.
What's wrong with this bill? Because at the time it had public support.
I think it certainly did have support at the time, simply because of what was happening around. But the problem really with the bill, or with the Act,
Yes.
is that it actually doesn't address the main problem, which is dogs that behave badly.
How does it work? Remind us.
Well, what it does is it outlaws particular breeds of dog and also types of dog that look of a particular type.
So if you want to breed a pit bull or a Japanese Tosa, you've got to go to court and get permission.
No, you haven't. You can't do so.
You just can't, full stop.
You can't, full stop. But the problem, of course, is that there are many dogs around that look similar to a pit bull terrier, which then fall under the law. And what we're not doing is addressing the actual behaviour of dogs per se.
Do you think it's changed
the
behaviour of dogs that do tend to go in for attacks or not?
No, I don't think it has done anything of the sort. I think what it's done is it's driven fighting, which is where a lot of this comes from, where human beings, believe it or not, set dogs against each other for gambling. What it's done is driven that completely underground. The dogs are still being bred, but nobody's aware of it. It's all hidden away, and what's actually happening is that those dogs are being bred. Dogs which are not wanted for fighting are still going out and are being kept as pets.
Right. Thank you for that for a moment. Let me bring in Lord Baker, Kenneth Baker as was. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you, Jim.
Now, we're told that it pretends to do something that it doesn't do. Isn't that a definition of bad legislation?
Well, no, it doesn't do that at all. Could I just remind your listeners why it was introduced in 1991? There had been a series of savage attacks by pit bull terriers. One man had his face eaten half away, another child had been mauled and almost killed, and that was the culmination of the series. And I took advice, incidentally, from the Kennel Club, and I was told that this breed was a particularly dangerous and vicious breed, bred for fighting, as Caroline has said, and it should be eliminated from the UK, and that has now happened. And over the last 15 years, you don't have pit bull terriers any longer in this country. The number of attacks has actually dropped. It has been a measure which has made our country safer. There's no question about that. The other thing that it did is that it encouraged dog owners, and 95% of our dog owners are very responsible, loving people, but there are some very irresponsible ones, to ensure that their dogs are not dangerously out of control in a public place. And so as a result, if you go into a public park in London today, you'll see some, not all dogs, muzzled, because actually children have a right to play in safety in a park. And
right.
So it has been for 15 years an effective act. In fact, so effective it's been copied in other countries, including West Germany.
Right. Caroline Kisko, there's a fairly straightforward account there of what happened, and Lord Baker thinks that there's no question that it's made the country safer. What evidence do you have to suggest that that isn't true?
Well, I think if Lord Baker or yourselves spoke to the Metropolitan Police, they would actually disagree with you completely. It has not made the place safer.
What about the number of attacks? Have they dropped or not?
No, they haven't. What's actually happened is that attacks are now happening, and they were actually at that time as well. Where we talk about pit bull terriers, they were singled out. And what was happening is that the media was actually homing in on particular attacks.
It became
but ignoring, ignoring. There are still lots, there were then and there still are, lots of bites by breeds other than pit bull terriers.
A quick last word, Lord Baker, on that.
Simply, I don't quite understand what she's asking for. She's asking for some softening of the legislation. There's no question about that. And in fact, there's a whole army out there who want it to be toughened. if you're seeking to actually repeal this act, you'd let these breeds back again, pit bull terriers and the Japanese Tozo and the Argentinian dog and the Brazilian job, and that would not make our country safer.
Right.
You're actually asking for relaxation, and the whole army out of people out there would say, in fact, there should be tighter controls, not looser controls.
Lord Baker, Caroline Kisko from the Kennel Club, thanks very much. Just to let me